Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Knitting with Nancy. Today I am so excited. Now, I know everybody says this is your favorite yarn, but it really is fun. And I'm going to say it every week, so get used to me if you're not already. This is Koigu, and these are pencil packs. And I really like Koigu a lot. They do really unique colorways. And how they put the pencil packs together. I want to read the back. There's 10 colors, 87 yards each, and each one is a different color. Oh, maybe we have to take all the covers off.
Well, yeah, if we want to see the yumminess. Look at that.
Well, we'll get the glare. Now that one is Tango Glow, which is what the sample's in, which I'm going to hold up because this is what we're going to talk about today. This is the Log Cabin Shawl. But first I want to show the rest of the colors and the two books. So here we go. I'm going to stand up and help Val take all the covers off. So you'll see my hands coming in. Hold on. But they're really pretty colors that, oops, as I spill her coffee on it. They do just a really pretty way of doing. This is one of, I'm going to stick this right in front of the camera because that's one of my favorites. Is that not just the best winter colors?
Okay, yeah, but
this one is sparkles. Yeah, and I have to tell you, I really have fun shopping for yarn with Val because we both, when we saw sparkles, go, sparkles! Like it's something so unique, but it really is. It's really beautiful.
Okay, so we have one more to show.
Oops, I'm sorry.
I talk about this.
That's okay.
Shawl.
I forgot one.
Okay. Now that the
so these are the colors we're currently carrying. Doesn't mean we won't get more. We really, really love this yarn. We also have two books. And now that we made a mess over there, the first book that they came out with is the Koigu Pencil Box Collection. And then they came out with Collection 2.0 Plus. And the reason why it's plus, and I have one here I'm going to rifle through, is because this one added not just shawls, which is the first one, and I'll go through it because that's the one I'm going to use, but they added some garments. And so they used some different techniques that they've used in their other patterns, if you're familiar with Koigu, on it. So they do some really unique items. Little different, kind of looks like signal flags to me from a boat. This is my favorite shawl on it, and hopefully, and I say hopefully because it's busy, we're going to do, a sample. So it's on the list to do a sample, so one day you will see that. I won't say it'll be the next couple of months because we're doing holiday knitting soon. But it's really nice. They do throw in some crochet, which is, again, different from the first book. And some, like I said, garments. So they changed it up a little in the book, so it is different. The first book is mostly shawls. Now, I will say when you're doing a sweater, you might need 2 packs. So to do it, this is Val's, if you didn't hear.
Pretty. Look how pretty.
I think, Val, you like everything, too.
I do.
You're as
No,
bad
I
as,
don't. I didn't.
either I'm as bad as you or you're as bad as me. This one's interesting because it's entrelac. I have not showed how to do entrelac here,
cool.
and possibly we'll do something with entrelac after the holidays. on it because it's a very fun technique. It's a little frustrating because you're turning back and forth a lot on it. Now, this is what I'm going to talk about today, is the log cabin shawl. And
So
we
it's
did
like it
use
connects the quilter
quilt, yes.
with the knitter.
So when Paula and I first saw these and first saw this book, the two of us went, ooh, this is so cool, because it was a log cabin shawl, thus connecting knitting and the quilting here in the store. And it does remind you of that log cabin feel. So today, what I wanted to do was to talk about how to do this log cabin. We had a number of people start it when we first got these in the first time. We keep reordering the packs. It is not hard. You start with this center triangle. You cast on 3 stitches, and you're on the wrong side increasing by knit front and back on the edges of both sides and slipping stitches as you go up until you get 48 stitches. So I started, and then we pick up here, and I wanted to explain how to do that. But I also wanted to talk about I just want to get my page ready to talk about it. If you notice, and I'm going to turn this around, my bind off. And I have it, because they have you binding off from the right side, and they just say bind off. And when I first bound off, and for those of you, it's a regular bind off, nice, and we want it stretchy, not tight. This edge flipped forward and was kind of loose and kind of ugly. And I went, I don't like that. So those who know me will know that I change things, and then I tell everybody about it and why. So I did a little sample here. I didn't go the whole way up, but I did exactly what the pattern called for. Of course, I'm on the wrong side now, and I apologize, as opposed to the right side. So
Why'd you knit around?
I'm going to quickly knit across because I wanted to bind off on the right side.
So did you just do some different bind off technique that
here,
you showed us before?
Nope.
Oh.
Well, no. So here, to knit front and back, you knit into the stitch, pull it out, and knit through the back loop of the same stitch. Thus you have increased. And I'm a continental knitter. A lot of you have asked to show how to continental. Again, we do have that up for late January, February. Notice I'm thinking ahead. So for those snowy days that you're stuck inside,
You might as well learn how to continental
knit with a southern accent. Front and back.
Girl from Oregon with a southern accent.
Okay. So on the front.
Okay.
I am going to first do a normal bind off. So again, a easy way to bind off, I should say, not necessarily normal. Knit 1, knit 2, pass the first stitch up and over. And I'm going to go halfway across this way, and then I'm going to switch it to what I did, and that way you can see the difference. So again, I'm just binding off. Notice I'm loose. You do not want to ever bind off tight. So 2 more stitches this way. Now, the way I did this, and see there's that big thing facing us. Mm-hmm. The way I do that, I do a purl bind off. So, oops. And now you'll see, right. So by doing a purl, again, I'm loose, I am not pulling tight, but now you will see the difference of why I like purl bind-offs on a lot of things.
And it's going to be the same stretchy as
it's the exact
as a
same
knit
thing.
bind-off.
Yeah, it essentially is just a reverse knit bind-off. I mean, if you think about it, a purl is a knit in reverse. It's just putting the bump in the front.
Right.
So it's really no different. I'm not changing the stretchiness unless you go tighter, and then yes, you are changing it. So now, can you all see that difference?
Too late, flat, stop moving. Kind of. Now poke and show us.
Okay, so now if I lift this up, can you see how big this is and it's tipped forward? Mm-hmm. And look at how even this is and it's tipped backwards. And some people don't care. If you don't mind this, don't worry. For me personally, I like this look better. It's just a cleaner finish. Mm-hmm. It's a personal thing, and part of knitting is all personal. It's what you like and how it affects you. I'm going to show you, I did show you our yarn snips a week ago or two. I really like them. They're forged metal. And what's really cool, they are snips.
That is. Oh, look at that.
It does a really nice job. They're fun to have. They feel good in your hands. So here is, on a smaller version, my first triangle.
You didn't teach us how to make them.
So now the pattern, and this is what gets people confused, because you've knit it bottom up, but we're actually going to now turn it upside down. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start looking at it this way, and we'll have right side, left side. Mm-hmm. So what the pattern calls for is the first starting with your first right side stripe, pick up 25 stitches from the right side of the triangle. So let me explain what that means. When you count rows, and they have completely counted rows, and I'm sorry I made a boo-boo here. They count bumps. So if I just put my needle in the bumps on the edge, and it's every bump. And every bump means there's 2 rows there. So if you have to pick up 25 stitches, there's 50 rows. Okay?
Okay.
So to pick up and knit, we have to start with the very first bump and leave about a 6 to 7 inch tail and just pull your yarn through. Come to the next bump, yarn over the needle and just pull it through.
So it really is that easy.
It really is.
I just thought it was so
that easy. The next bump, yarn over, and I use my thumb, forefinger, to push that over so I don't split my stitches. Next bump. Now, I'm taking this edge bump, but you can come in one.
Okay.
If that's easier to see. You have to be consistent. That's the key to this. So notice I'm using my fingers to pull it through to get. So if you start here, every one is the edge. Don't go in and then in. So what you can do is pick them up first.
Put them on a needle. Slide.
Right. So if I take this off and now pick up the bumps, you can pick everything up first so you know exactly what you have. And that's my cast on bump. I'm going to take the outer one. So you can count. And then slip them to the other side of your circular. Take your tail and now just knit them normal. And now I'm just knitting normal. And that way is a lot easier because you can count what you are doing. So if I stop here for a second and come back to the sample, because if you notice, I've elongated that final purl, which is what I've done here. If I take, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
But in the scheme of it, you don't necessarily see it, do you?
Mm-mm.
Because it's the same one, it's in
It's really
pattern.
Mm-hmm. It makes a pattern.
It makes a pattern. Now, what makes this easy and the directions, I used two 32-inch circular needles to do this shawl.
I want to know how you picked your color layout, too. I think that was
So what I've done with people is I have, for this sample, I followed what the book did because I wanted it identical. I've told people to ignore what the book says, and when you pick your colors, this is in the order they put them in, but it doesn't have to be your order. So when you pick your pack, and let's say you want to do this shawl, notice how you really don't want similar colors next to each other.
because you lose the contrast.
Because you lose the contrast, but you don't lose it when it goes here to here. And before I get to the color contrast, because I want to talk about that, I just want to go to one more thing in the pattern. So this right stripe, your first one, says to do 28 rows, which will give you 14 bumps. So when you take your new needle, you leave these stitches live on a needle, and I just took a rubber band and put them together so they were out of my eyes, and I knew which needle I was using as I switched back and forth. I took a new needle,
and did that
and
side.
here, because you like to pick up from the front, you have 14 stitches here you're going to pick up first, and then the yellow that I did here, and I'm going to knit 28 rows. This needle hangs out, and I paper clipped it or whatever together. and I came back to this needle, picked up my next 14 stitches, and then knit 28 rows, put it on hold. This needle, which is live here, picked up 14 stitches and knit. And that's how you work side to side. So 2 needles, 2 32-inch needles, and that way it'll keep your head straight. So let's talk about color choices. So let's say you want the purple up here. Then you might pick this as 1, and then come back and pick this as 2. But you could also come and take this, and then you could come here. Then you could come here. And now let's look at this for a second. Do you like 2 brights together? Maybe not. So you might come in gray and then go, oh, but that's a gray. So then come and take this one. And then put a bright here. Come back to the white. Take this one as your next, and then this. So it gives you kind of, and then the last ones, you're repeating some of these first ones. Okay. And I say that because you're going to have a lot extra of this. Yeah. So if you notice, my yellow is back down here. I had more of this, and I kind of then just went back and did this color, then I went to this color, then I went to that color, and then I went to this. Okay. So I repeated what I had a lot of. And you don't have to stay in color pattern. You can do whatever you want. So the joy of these are you get to do whatever you like. Yeah. Don't, just because it's how it's lying in the box doesn't mean that has to be knit this way. Take them out, toss them in the air so you don't know what they were, and then go from there. They're really fun to play with. Again, Koigu has a great hand. They do a beautiful job with superwash and what they do on it in these mini skeins. They're just a joy to work with. And it's a really nice company. It's owned by a mother-daughter. I believe they're in Canada. They've been around for a long time, and they're just nice people. And we like supporting really nice people. So thank you. And for all those who asked how the fires were doing and the smoke, we are kind of pretty much smoke-free. You can kind of smell a little bit in the air. So they are getting better. We're getting into some cooler weather. It's quite lovely out here. But do stay, safe with COVID, but keep them, all those, I think there's over 3,000 people that lost their homes. So there are lots of charities to help support them. I'm sure you can find online if you do want to help out in Oregon or California, because they've lost a lot, and I think Washington. Stay well, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good afternoon.